Well, hello everyone. My name's Ed, and today I'm going to be doing something quite new to me. I don't normally record videos, but a fellow I know from Discord is having problems with oxygen not included, and I said I would take a look at his save. This is that save. The guy in question, Tech Geek NZ, states that the problems he has are power outages, low pressure, and no slime for his mushroom farm. So let's have a little tour. So the first item on my tour, go back to here, is the current power setup. Down here. Current power setup, he's got 2 coal generators. That's woefully inadequate when you look at the power grid. So he's got a potential load of 4.32 kilowatts powered by 1.8 kilowatts of coal generators. There's your problem right there. Also, I'm going to go into this in more detail later on, but he's got these power control systems, power control stations, which use metal. Hello, this is Ed from the future just chiming in here. So in the previous version of the video I talked about these power control stations and how they were useless. They're not useless. What they do is that they increase the power output by 50%. So this cogenerator is rated at 600 watts, but with this power control station here, it's actually outputting 900 watts per, so you're getting double. But I would maintain that these are still a mistake this early, because these metals are not renewable at this stage. So you're basically expending labour, you're expending a finite resource to get a marginal power increase. You'd get exactly the same power increase by adding a third power generator here, without burning through finite resources. That's all I wanted to say. Back to the video. There are optimum strategies for playing this game, and the longer I can keep him away from them, happier I'll be, because once you learn like a technique that always works, you lose the fun of discovery. So I'm kind of playing vicariously through him. So with that said, over here, onto point number 2. He's got this cool steam vent here. He wants to harness it, and this is his attempted build. So you've got going to the plumbing. He's not finished it yet. So you've got 2 pumps. He's going to dig this out. I don't know what this second pump's for, but one thing I've noticed looking at his build is he loves his automation. He's got automation everywhere, and it's not built. So this is a knot gate. What's he knotting? He's knotting the hydro sensor here. Where's the hydro sensor? I don't know. Hydro sensor's down here, so he's basically got an airlock set up here. So he'll wait until this fills with water, then he'll pump it out. If this gets too wet, he'll pump that out as well. And he's pumping all of that to an electrolyzer in the hopes that will fix both his oxygen problems. He's got low pressure, remember, I'll jump up to the overlay here. He's got really low pressure. That's one of the problems later on. Where did it go? Shift. And he's hoping that by harnessing the power of electrolysis, he will fix his problem. Unfortunately, what he has is one electrolyzer, which generates 888 grams per second of oxygen. Now, a dupe consumes 100 grams of oxygen per second. So that's one electrolyzer. He's got 12 dupes, so he's not going to improve the pressure problem at all with one electrolyzer. He's currently in this extremely complicated build to cool. Now, this is a cool system he's got here, almost, but the idea is that he's going to pump the hot air down through the cold biome, cool it down, and then distribute it throughout the rest of the map. That's good, but he's not got enough electrolyzers to do that. If we follow this down, you get 5 hydrogen generators, 112 grams of hydrogen per second, and he's got 5 generators down here, each of which consume 100 grams a second. So that's never going to come anywhere close to another power control system, which is just at this point a waste. So on to the next. What's he got? Now, we're looking at here. So this is really cool. So he's got this water tank here, which is germy as hell. It's heck. It's really germy. It's mixed. And he's pumping the water out here. Because he hasn't got plastic yet, he's not got that far into the game. He's pumping it into these storage tanks, which sit inside the chlorine and caustic biome. And he has this with liquid shut-offs. It's quite complicated, quite convoluted, but he doesn't have plastic, so he's using a cycle sensor. And he's flipping between these 2 banks every, well, We can see here half of every cycle, so he's basically keeping the water in these tanks, getting decontaminated. You can see these ones are decontaminated, so that's quite a clever system. And then he pipes it down to these water sieves to get cleaned, and from there, where does it go? Then it goes up here and drops into this accessible thing in his actual core base, which is really good. That's really well done, really well designed. One thing I would say is that I would have the water sieves first, because the polluted water in these tanks is, although it is dying off due to the bleach, it will be dying off slower because it's polluted water. Okay, so next one. We have here, he got some slickster eggs through the printing pod, and his first attempt, they all died because it was too cold. This is his second attempt, he's got a bunch of slicksters in here, really cool. Doesn't have any room bonuses, but he's got 7 slicksters, but no carbon dioxide. He's got really complicated, well, relatively complicated system for pumping the carbon dioxide down there, but because of this maze and because of power outages, none of it's reaching down here. So these guys are kind of starving. And he's also not using the oil for anything. There's not really a huge amount of oil here, so it's like you couldn't really use this to set up an entire industry. But he's got a temperature sensor so that it doesn't use too much power. So that's quite clever. It's quite well done. Bit over-engineered with all this gas stuff. Buffered gate. Oh goodness, this is going to be a nightmare to review properly. So where was I? Right, so we've done that. Okay, this is the overview, and here I was going to say, is it the gas overlay? Yes, you can see I've already mentioned that the gas is very unequally distributed. Power overlay, he's got a power spine, beginnings of a power spine, but I think he's given up on the concept of a power spine and just sort of routed the heavy wire everywhere. Temperature, he's kept the base relatively good, good condition. Gas overlay, here's the problem I think he's facing the most, apart from the fact that there's no pressure here, is that he's got lots of isolated pockets of CO2 and no way of getting them lined up. And another issue he said he was having is that he can't really keep the CO2 in his mushroom farm, but he's also got the problem he's got no slime at all. Back to where was it? It was, yes, so this is his attempt at distribution system with the transformers. He already pointed this out. He did a bit more research and he pointed out that having batteries on the low side of the transformers will cause major problems. This is an incomplete build. It's never going to be completed because it's wrong. You can't have the batteries on here, otherwise it will short out the circuits it's on or overpower them, burn them out. Next item on the list. Okay, this is the other problem we had, is Mealwood Farm is stifled because there's not enough gas pressure here. Now, I would say that the Mealwood Farm itself is the problem. The problem is he's got 3 tons of dirt left, and he's got these running. And these consume, when they're working, which they're not at the moment, fortunately, these consume, where is it, 10 kilograms each per cycle. So how many has he got here? I'm not going to dig them up. 20, so he's got 60 of those. 60 of those, 10 kilograms per cycle. That's 600 kilograms per cycle just for the mealwoods. What's that, 5 days? Crazy. That needs to get changed. You need to get rid of that. There isn't a huge amount of dirt on the map left. So he's used up a lot of the dirt on the map already. There's really not enough. This needs to get changed urgently. What else? So he's also got a couple of oxyferns down here. Part of the problem is he's using this to siphon out the carbon dioxide, which means he's got nothing to feed to the slicksters. Not very good. So let's have a look at consumables. He's got everything turned on. So people are eating raw meat, they're eating raw egg, they're eating raw meal lice. Okay, that's not ideal. He's got a little kitchen here set up. It does have the room bonus, which is good. But what he's got is he's primarily creating pickled meal over everything else. He hasn't really got the resources for anything else, but pickled meal is his go-to. If you go to the calorie overview, 91,000 calories of pickled meal. Yeah. So that, for those not in the know, if you go to consumables, pickled meal, where is it? Has a morale bonus of -1, which is not good, because if you look at his morale up here, you've got a lot of people who are stressing out. So, consumables, next item is schedule. Got 2 shifts with way too many people. We've got six per shift. What we also have is I didn't bookmark these. He wants to get running toilets and bathrooms. Hasn't got them yet, so we're currently using... Where are they? I didn't bookmark them. So we've got 3 outhouses and 2 wash basins, and you get 6 people going to them at the same time. They'll go to the toilet, someone will be using the wash basin, they'll run straight past and carry the food poisoning germ all over the base. As you can see here, some of these are filthy little people. I mean, it's kind of good that he's got the isolation, but between the farms, got a lot of wasted space here. It's just making it more difficult to pressurise. So what you would really need to do is expand. This is not enough either. This is 2 showers, 2 bathrooms. So you would really want, if you're going to have a shift with 6 people on it, you want at least 6 toilets and showers and hand basins. Now, optimization wise, they say showers don't do anything. You get a slight morale boost, but I like it because it feels more thematic. As I say, the optimum strategies. I'm aware of people like Francis John, Grind This Game, JD Plays. I'm aware of the optimum strategies. As I said earlier, part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I know the optimum strategies, and I don't like the fact that I know that there's the best way to create electrolyzers, there's the best way to ranch. I don't like having that knowledge from elsewhere. So I'm not going to be relying on those techniques in this. I'm just trying to work from base principles. For instance, going back down to the electrolyzers here. 100 grams per second, it's generating 111, but it's ideally consuming 500 here. Right? So yeah, the ratios are miles off, and that's not even like meta. That's just looking at the numbers. In case you don't know where these numbers are, here you see requirements, status, requirements, hydrogen gas 100 grams a second, and up here you can see. Can get through to it. So it requires 1 kilogram of water. It outputs 888 grams a second and 112 grams of hydrogen a second. So you would need to scale this up by a factor of 5 to feed these. What else? Skills. One thing I've noticed as well is that he has maxed pretty much everyone's skills, with the side effect that, with a few exceptions, everyone's either at their limit or close to their limit. Well, not everyone, but a fair few. So we got, for instance, the runner Bubbles is slightly over their morale, so they'll be stressing out constantly. And we've got the engineer Turner, who is also going to be stressing out constantly. All these skills added without actually using them. Just a thing to be mindful of. The more skills you have researched, the higher their demand is. And as I say, you're not using ranching yet. What else? Priorities. We've got a couple of good priorities set up. So we get cooking. We've got two dedicated cooks and 1 non-dedicated cook. But we also have them available to do other things. So doctoring, tidying. Yeah. Ideally, you would want these to be exclusively cooking, with maybe supplying. What else? Digging. I think you've got no dedicated diggers. You've got 1 dedicated builder who, again, has lots of raised priorities. Generally, you would want them to be fairly dedicated to their task. Doctoring isn't really a factor, and that ties neatly into my next thing, is that they've got no slime. Techie has no slime. The reason Techie has no slime is that he is absolutely terrified of slime lung. And I've been playing this game for many years now, and I remember when slime lung was genuinely something to be afraid of, but it isn't anymore. At all. Like, if you look at the germ overlay, there's no slime lung anywhere here. Now, you might think, oh, that means his technique is working. No, because he's got no slime. And the only way to get slime is to dig it out. Now, going by his other builds, if I can find one down here, he loves airlocks. I think he's an actual engineer by trade. So, like, airlocks and proper filtration systems. He doesn't want any of this chlorine into his base. That's fair enough, but, like, Do you really need this much automation to manage that? Do you really need this much plumbing? I would say no. Better to let the gases separate themselves. So, and I've actually said in my notes here, it's got needless reliance on automation. So you've got all this stuff here. All this just to try and get this circulating a little bit. The environments on either side of this bulkhead to mingle properly. He's got all this automation, whereas you could do that just by deleting all of this, mining this out. And as I said, I believe I said, one issue he's got is with his mushrooms, apart from the slime, is that the carbon dioxide is sinking. So it's never staying in the proper atmosphere for very long. Go with the gas overlay, so you get pockets of oxygen in here. The ideal way to do that would be to completely separate this. So you would have like a way for carbon dioxide to get in, but not a way to get back out. So you'd have a wall here up the left-hand side. So carbon dioxide could get in, but not back out. That's fine. Let's see. I've already mentioned the fear of slime and the biome contamination. I mean, yeah, it's a pain in the ass if you get a lot of mixed gases in your environment. It's a real annoyance to sort of try and separate them back out. It's annoying, but it's not unsolvable. Yeah, so I've mentioned the airlocks. I've mentioned I don't think he looks at the numbers too much with the hydrogen and with the output of the electrolyzer and the hydrogen generators, and like how much coal and power, how many coal generators it's got versus the power draw. So if I go back to the power overlay here, 4.32 kilowatts of possible power being consumed, and only 1.8 kilowatts of power being generated if you ignore the runner wheels, which you should. He has finished the research tree insofar as he can without going to space. He has finished it, so that's good. He's rushed research. Yeah. What else? And isolated pockets of liquid. So you've got this very germy one here, which is fine. This is good. One thing I would say is that it probably takes too long, and you should be filtering it first to prevent the germs growing rather than dying out. What else? Yes, and so that's the overview sort of finished. So if I go here, you can see. Yep, that's all the things I had bookmarked. Yep, it's okay. So, what now? Well, I said that I'm going to fix this. I don't want to play this long term. This is just purely without using knowledge of optimum strategies. How would I go about fixing this based on just the numbers and what's available? No major rebuilds, possibly a few minor rebuilds. Certainly a lot of reprioritization, like this much automation, this much use of refined metal this early. No, can't be happening. If you look over here at the amount of the various ores he's got no gold amalgam left. He's got only 1.5 tons of copper ore. But now the crusher here, there was a crusher. If you don't know what this crusher will output on a 2-to-1 ratio, so you put 100 kilograms of iron ore in, if you can see here, you get 50 kilograms out and 50 kilograms of sand. Whereas if you go to a later refinement system, such as a metal refinery, you get 100% out. Is it 100%? I'm sure it is. I've not actually queued anything up, so it might be wrong. They might not tell me. Yeah, we need to build it and queue up some tasks. What else? One thing that I didn't mention, that I didn't write down in my notes, is the conveyor systems that he's got. So here we have, right in the middle of the base, we've got a conveyor loader that's piping coal down to his power plants, which is really cool. It's not terribly advanced, but it is an indication that he's thinking about such things. And here we have the perfect example of that, is that he's putting sand in here and he's piping it into his cleansing, his filtration system, and he's sweeping the polluted dirt back out. I always get conveyor and automation mixed up. So he's dropping the polluted dirt down here, and he's got a lot of polluted dirt which could be used. Like, he's got 32 tons of it, which he really should be turning into normal dirt. But you see here he's got a very small composting system. only 4 compost piles. Now, you can't really automate this properly because there needs to be someone to flip the pile periodically to sort of aerate it. And with that said, I'll have to do that another time. Thank you for watching, and cheerio.